And what's up, WOOFs? Welcome to our special episode. Well, a lot of you have probably been waiting for, but it's a Dawn of War free video, and I call it 6 hidden mechanics you probably didn't know of in Dawn of War free. Now, just to be clear here, some of them are hidden, yeah, some of them are, but a few of them are actually not. It's more or less 6, let's just call it 6 mechanics. I just like to call it hidden mechanics because a few of them are actually not pretty well known, I noticed, even between better players or higher skilled players, let's say it like that. So, yeah. These mechanics are in no particular order, so I'm just going to count them down. I'm just going to tell you how they work and what you need to do, and you just look at it, and whatever you didn't know of, well, now you know, and hopefully you can utilize it in some way or another, right? But before we begin, if you have the ready, become a member of the WOOF pack by subscribing. Also, don't forget to feed the floof. Feed the floof. You can feed the floof by hitting the like button. Make it a FAT-ASS-FLOOF. Yes. And it will explode. Floof eats likes. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Eldritch Storm Auto-Follow. Or Auto-Targeting, however you want to call it. Now, this is pretty easy, pretty simple one, but actually a lot of people have trouble with this or don't even know that it works. Now, there's a thing called command queues in the game, which you can use just by holding shift. You can tell units, you can do like command queues, like send them to spot A, then to B, then to C, then building D, you know, something like that. Or command queues are pretty useful, and you should always use it. So if you don't know what command queues are, you should probably look it up, because that is very useful. But it's not a hidden mechanic, so I'm not going to count it for this list. But what a lot of people don't know, and it's pretty easy to use, is you can use command queues to have your Eldritch Storm auto follow a target. Yes. Now what you need to do is just summon the Eldritch Storm. This is Eldar technique, obviously, just only Eldar. So summon the Eldritch Storm, and then just select the target or targets you want to follow, and then hold shift, and then just right-click spam, like 10 or 20 times, just real quick in succession, like that. And, well, the storm will just keep following those targets until it ends. Well, this is because even if the target stands still, obviously the command queue will be done pretty much quicker, but the command queue actually takes a few seconds, I think it's 2 or 3 seconds, for one command to stay in spot, like to move to the same spot at the same time. So even if the unit stands still, your command queue will stay active. And if the unit waits a second and then moves, your storm will still follow, and you can concentrate on the battle that's going on without having to tell your Eldritch Storm to keep following the targets and attack something, which is pretty useful. This sadly doesn't work for the Space Marine orbital bombardment because well, obvious reasons. It doesn't directly target units. You cannot target units with that. You just move it over the ground. It's kind of a different mechanic. So, yeah, there you go. Number 2. Directional Vehicle Damage. Well, this is, people from previous Dawn of War games probably know of this already, but actually all the vehicles, except walkers, so no dreadnoughts and stuff, but all tanks, all vehicles have directional, or take directional damage. Basically, this, well, it's pretty simple to explain. Vehicles will take less damage from the front and more damage from the back, while taking standard damage from the sides. So if you want to take less damage with your vehicle, just move it so it would always be facing the targets it's attacking. This is easier with skimmers, obviously, but for regular tanks, you need to keep that in mind. Also, you can use the R button kind of to have them reverse drive, so they can drive backwards and then shoot. So for escaping, always use that. Never just move away, because turning your back on an opponent, especially if it's anti-vehicle weapons, is pretty bad. And your tank will just die much quicker than if it was, well, just facing the target instead. Number 3. Orc Scrap Vehicles. Now this is a no-brainer, usually. If you played the campaign or the tutorial or whatever, then you should know about this, but I've still seen a lot of people not using it, not utilizing it, perhaps not knowing of it, so I'm just going to include it in this list, even though it's not really a hidden mechanic, since you should know of it if you play the game. So, yeah, orcs actually can, or the Gretchens can build vehicles and even wall banners out of scrap. Now, this only works for medium and heavy scrap. I'm just gonna call it that. But so the higher the tier, the better chances you have to get something to work and get something to build. You can also even use, like if you destroy a tank on the field, you can just run there with your Gretchens and build a tank of your own there. Also, building any unit from scrap will make it significantly cheaper, and therefore the orcs being the only faction at escalation phase 4 to actually be able to come back even with much lower resources than their opponent, just because of the scrap vehicle mechanic that makes it way cheaper to produce those shit-end vehicles and walkers and shits, you know? So yeah, use scrap vehicles, really do. Also, if you are low on banners, and it's, for some reason it's already escalation phase free, and you are not on max banners, then don't waste your cash, don't build your final banners from scratch, basically. Build them from scrap. Yeah, your banners will at escalation phase 3 and up, your banners will produce higher scrap mountains, and those you can turn into banners. So yeah, keep that in mind. Number 4. Orqua Range Indicator and other range indicators. Well, some abilities in the game, actually, a lot of people have been asking, like, what's the range? Like, for example, that I have used for the name for this mechanic, the Orqua Range. Now, what is the max range? How do you find out? Well, it's pretty simple. All you need to do is click on that building or unit that has some kind of ability with a max range, and if it doesn't have an indicator during play, you can just hold your mouse above the icon for the ability. That is not on the game map itself, it's in the inventory or the ability slots on the bottom left of the screen, usually on the bottom left of the screen. And there, just keep your mouse above that icon and, well, the max range will be displayed. And now you can actually position your orcs in a way to, like, really utilize the max range to get them further out, or build a good amount of wall or whatever, or even build your banner to, like, better position it and get your max range into some locations where you can actually use it in a fight way better. That's very useful. Has been useful for me. Like, I always use it. I always look at the max range, and, well, there you go. Number 5. Heavy cover mechanics. Now, well, everybody knows how heavy cover works, right? But there's actually a few tiny little secrets about heavy cover that pretty much nobody knows about, or people have just accidentally stumbled upon, like I did that once. So what everyone probably knows is that flamers, for example, can hit into heavy cover. But there's actually way more things that can get into heavy cover. For example, we got squigs. Squigs can just run into heavy cover, no problem. But we also have a lot of other things that you might have not expected, like, for example, grenades, or even stun grenades from scouts. But for them to actually work into heavy cover, you need to look at the AoE. So when you want to throw your grenade, just hit the button and then look at the AoE range, and you need to target right outside the heavy cover to basically have the AoE go into the heavy cover. But if your grenade hits the heavy cover itself, the bubble basically, then it will be nullified. So you need to hit outside the cover, but you can go right to the border and you still will hit inside. So yeah, you can use this, for example, for scouts to throw grenades, well, not inside, but, you know, outside, and just have the stun actually reach into the cover to stun units like Maka or whatever who are inside the cover doing their thing, having their fun, and you can stun like that. You can even deal damage with other skills. There's a lot of stuff you can just try out. A lot of things work you think they shouldn't have, but they still do. So maybe they'll patch a few things of those at some point. What I can tell you actually is that at some point a while back, it was actually possible to drop pod your units into heavy cover of your opponent. But I have done heavy testing on that one. I actually wanted to make well, a hidden mechanic of on its own, basically for that. But they kind of patched it. I think they patched it. At least it changed something. It doesn't work anymore. Somebody used it against me once, and I tried, and I got it to work as well. But for some reason, it doesn't work anymore. So no more drop pods into heavy cover. But a lot of other things still work. So just try out stuff, and you might notice that you can get into heavy cover. And also, what a lot of people do not know or do not realize, I'm just gonna say it anyway, since this is just called heavy cover mechanics. Actual heavy cover on the stage, and shield generators work very differently from another. Technically, they're both heavy cover, but for shield generators, your own units can actually shoot through those. Yes, you can position your heavy bolters behind your shield generator, technically, so to speak, and they will still be able to shoot through it, even though it's activated. But doing this with an actual heavy cover on the field, that won't work because your own units cannot shoot inside your own heavy cover. That only works for shield generators. So next time you want to defend your shield generator, you could technically, if the shield generator is like very close to your turret, you can position your heavy bolters inside the turret range, and you can instead just put something inside the shield generator, and whatever melee units they charge into your shield generator, they will not be able to reach your heavy bolters unless they want to take damage from the turret. So that's pretty useful. Use it. Number 6. Eldar Shield Refresh. Well, this one's actually pretty OP. Yes, overpowered. I don't know if they will ever patch it out, but right now it actually works, and it has worked, and I have used it sometimes, even though the timing's pretty hard to hit. But if you can get it to work for you, then you have a big advantage during a big fight, because the Eldar are actually able to completely refresh their shields of all of their units on the field with one giant swoop. Now, how to do it? Well, now the shield refresh works for both vehicles as well as infantry. However, you cannot shield refresh both at once unless you, do a little workaround, because refreshing the shields has something to do with getting the shield upgrades. Well, as soon as an Eldar shield upgrade is finished, it will automatically replenish all shields of all Eldar units of that type. Which means if you build the infantry shield upgrade and it finishes, all of your Eldar infantry will instantaneously completely regenerate their shields. If you do it for vehicles, the vehicles will get it. That also means you can only do it 3 times per game per unit type, since we've got vehicles and infantry. Obviously, as a reminder, Wraith Guard and Wraith Blades count as heavy infantry and therefore gain their shield refresh through vehicle upgrades. So next time you want to start a big fight, well, save up at least one of those shield upgrades and just start it before you go into battle. And mid-battle you will regain all your shields and might even turn the tides even though you were losing. So that's pretty useful. That's actually very useful. I've used it a few times, and well, it's basically a very, very useful hidden mechanic done for free. And I hope you will utilize it as well. Of course, now everybody knows about his shit. Oh well. So, these were my 6 hidden mechanics. There were supposed to be 7, but, well, one didn't work, or I didn't get it to work while testing. So I hope these were useful. Did you know of all of these mechanics? Did you know of a few? Do you know of a few mechanics that I do not know of? Now let me know in the comment section. Let's have a little conversation there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, become a member of the WOOF pack by subscribing. And also don't forget to feed the floof. Feed the floof. You can feed the floof by hitting the like button. Make it a FAT-ASS-FLOOF. Want me a FAT-ASS-FLOOF. Floof eats likes. And yeah, I'll say thanks for watching again. And I'm gonna see you next time. I'm just gonna say, Fox out.